Hi friends, it's Monique here and I'm back today with the new layout that I've created for Lottie Loves Paper. I'm guest designing for them this week for a new challenge, and this one is all about butterflies. So I've created this layout where I've used a lovely butterfly cut file, and I'm looking forward to showing you how it all came together. So I've got this lovely butterfly wreath cut file from Peartree Cutfiles, and I really want this layout to be really bright and vibrant and just happy to reflect the photos that I'm going to be using in this page. So for this layout, I've gone ahead and rummaged through my Blvd collections, and the one that I've picked is the You Are My Sunshine collection, which I got from the Lottie Loves Paper store towards the end of last year, and it's just such a bright, happy collection. It's full of rainbow colors, nice clean brights, and I just adore it. So it was perfect for this page. Now I've used the reverse side of the cut file on the reverse side of the pattern papers that I wanted to use, and I have kind of roughly traced around the edges of each of those butterflies just so that I can get kind of a rough template. It doesn't have to be exactly the same as the butterfly, just as close as is perfect, because it's not going to back the cut file. I'm going to be sitting it on top with the wings flapping so it looks like those butterflies are flying. Now I cut them out in 5 colors, kind of in rainbow order, and then I went ahead and also cut 5 butterflies out of vellum as well, just using the colored cardstock butterflies as a template. Now I'll chat more about the vellum later, but I'm going to move on to some stitching just now. So I wanted to add some detail to the center of those butterflies. Because I'm layering that cardstock on top of the cut file, I've lost the detail of the center of the butterfly, so I want to add some stitching and coordinating colors just to kind of bring that detail back to the center. I'm going to do a simple back stitch, and I'm going to use all 6 strands of the embroidery thread. To start off, I'm going to come in through the back into the second hole, and I'm going to thread on a little sequin, and then I'm going to take a stitch back into the very first hole. Then I'm going to come back in again from the back into the next hole before threading in another sequin, and then taking a stitch back into the hole where I did my first stitch. Now I'm going to repeat this until I've added stitching the whole way through, adding a sequin to each stitch. So my first stitch had a small little sequin, and then my middle 2 stitches had medium-sized sequins, and then I finish off with another little sequin, so it kind of goes from small to large and then small again. I've used pink sequins with pink thread on the pink butterfly, and I repeat this with all the different coordinating colors for all 5 of the butterflies. I've added my vellum butterflies underneath the patterned paper butterflies just to give the effect of fluttering wings. I just wanted to add an extra layer just to give that sense of movement and delicacy. I had originally thought to add the vellum on top, but it just dulled the colors a little bit, and I really don't want to lose those intense bright colors. Now I've grabbed some distress ink pads in coordinating colors, and I've just inked all the edges just to give a little bit of definition to those edges and a little bit of extra interest. Now, I'd originally started with the intention of doing some mixed media, so I have my Vicki Boutin foundations cardstock, which I have bought from the Lottie Loves Paper store, and then I decided I was going to use some pattern paper, so in came the turquoise clouds, and now I've gone back to my original plan using this foundations cardstock. It's a gorgeous mixed media cardstock, and you don't need to prep it before adding liquid mediums onto it. It doesn't soak up the liquid immediately. It lets it sit on the top so that you can work with it a little bit, and it's quite a heavyweight cardstock as well, so once the liquid is absorbed, it doesn't warp as much as a thinner cardstock would. I want to add a little bit of sky detail behind the butterflies, so I've taken 2 distress ink pads, one in tumbled glass and one in a slightly darker blue color, salty ocean, and I've stamped them onto some old plastic packaging, added a little bit of water, and then used a sponge just to dab up the color and then to sponge it onto my background. It gives a lovely soft gentle effect. And then I do also come in with my paintbrush just to kind of spread those colors a little bit. I love how it kind of fades out away from where the more intense color is, and I just love that watercolor effect. This is a really simple way to add a little bit of colour interest to your background. You don't need distress inks for this. You could use some watercolours by just adding a little bit of mixed watercolours onto some plastic packaging and doing the exact same technique, just using a different medium. I go back and forth a bit with my cut file just to make sure I've added enough blue so that it extends enough kind of around that circular shape until I'm happy. Now on a bright blue sky day, I definitely want to add some sunshine. So I've got this lovely little sunburst stencil, and I'm just taping it in place and then grabbing one of my Vicki Boutin gel crayons, and it's yellow obviously, and then I'm just taking a stencil brush to kind of pick up that gel crayon and then kind of stencil onto the background and just brushing it on. I'm pressing quite hard just to try and get some intense color, and I'm just laying over and over just to keep that color going, and then I do focus on adding a little bit more color to the center of that sunburst just to intensify the color in the middle. I want to create a layered effect with the sunburst. I really want it to feel like that sun is beating down on this gorgeous blue sky day, so I've just swiveled the stencil a little bit to kind of get some color into the white rays that were masked by the stencil. And so I've just turned my stencil around a little bit. I'm also being careful not to stencil color right up to the edges. I don't want to have a harsh line where those sun rays end. I want them to kind of fade into the blue sky. So I'm just repeating the stenciling and just turning that stencil around a few times just to layer on top of the color and just add more and more rays. You can see some of those rays are slightly longer and some are shorter, and I love the kind of unevenness of that, the imperfection of it. I feel it looks more natural. And I've got that lovely chipboard piece from the Blvd You're My Sunshine collection, which works perfectly up there. So I'm placing that there just to kind of get an idea of where it's going to go. Now I'm going to stick this cut file directly onto the background. I've added adhesive to all the edges apart from the kind of tops of those butterflies in the center of the circle, because I want to slot photos in behind them. So I don't want to glue those down just yet. Now I just want to layer my butterflies on top, just to get an idea of the position, and I've kept the threads in place. I've not cut them off because I had this idea that I was going to kind of loop them about almost like a flight path for those butterflies. Now, usually I place everything down and build my whole layout, and I don't stick anything down until the end when I take everything off and then stick everything down, and it's a very long process. But for this I thought I'm going to just go ahead and stick these down. There's no other place for them, so I've kind of worked starting with the green one because that's going to be my kind of bottom layer, and I'm going to layer the other butterflies on top. I've just used some clear silicone glue in the center of each of those butterflies. I find this kind of adhesive helps stick more chunky embellishments that maybe don't have a very flat surface on the background. The silicone glue kind of smushes into all the texture on the back and sticks it down beautifully, and also adds a little bit of extra dimension. Now it's time to have a little play with those threads and to cut off the extra bits. So I'm just kind of looping them around and trying to get some nice curves with those threads, just until I'm happy with how that looks. And I don't want them all to be twirling in the same way. I want it to be a little bit uneven, kind of like the butterflies have been flitting all over the show. Now I just add little dots of my Nouveau Deluxe adhesive just so that I can glue those threads into place. And you can see with that yellow thread, it's a little bit bendy rather than curved. So I'm just going to use my glue to kind of make that curve more smooth, if that makes sense. Now once I'm happy with all of those and they're all stuck down, I'm going to move on to backing each of my photos. I've got two photos that are both very similar, but they are slightly different shots. And one is in color and one is in black and white, and it's of my kitties. We had a really fun day. I'd actually sewn the outfits and I needed to take some photos for advertising for the company that I was sewing for. And we just spent some time outside. It was glorious weather and they were just messing about, playing and having fun, and there were loads of giggles, and I just loved the resulting photos. They're some of my favorites. And I especially love those twin cuddles. So I've grabbed some lovely Bella Boulevard pattern papers, and I've just kind of cut them ever so slightly bigger than the photos and used them to mount the pictures. I have inked the edges of the yellow and the turquoise pattern papers just to kind of coordinate with those butterflies. Once those are slotted in behind the butterflies, I have got these pre-cut little teeny tiny butterflies. I spent one evening in front of the TV with one of the pretty pattern papers from the You Are My Sunshine collection and cut out loads and loads of these little butterflies. They are so pretty, and I just knew I was going to be using them at some point, so I just went ahead and cut them all out, and they're just perfect for this page. So I'm going ahead and just building kind of 3 clusters, one at the top of that kind of arch of butterflies, one at the bottom, and then one at the top by the sunshine. So at the moment I'm kind of extending the butterflies all the way around the wreath, but soon I take some of those away and just concentrate on the 3 clusters instead. Now at this point I decide I'm going to look at an alternative for that sunshine up there. So I bring in this lovely sunshine chipboard piece and then cut out this little ephemera sunshine. I want to cut away some of that white and tuck it behind the word sunshine, and then I decide that the word sunshine is too big and it's kind of cutting the layout in half. So then I cut the word in half, add the word my there to make it my sunshine, but I'm not really loving how that's all coming together. But while I'm having a think, I decide to just trim down this little rainbow ephemera piece, which I'm going to tuck in there behind the sunshine. Then I move the my away because that's not quite doing it for me, and I play with some butterflies, and it really is a process, just seeing what I like the best. I decide that I like the word shine by itself, and I feel that that's much more balanced. So I'm going to go ahead and stick down these ephemera pieces because I am 100% decided on those, and then I'm going to continue building that cluster from there. There are so many lovely pieces in this collection that would just be lovely for this page, so it's just finding the right ones to complement it nicely. So I'm going to add a little bit of liquid adhesive to the back of that chipboard piece just to ensure it is totally stuck down, and then there's this other little chipboard piece that says sunshine, 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 and that works really nicely there along with a little tiny yellow butterfly just to dot the eye. I also come in with a little sticker piece, a little arrow that says light of my life, and I just tuck that there underneath the word shine and point it towards my photos, and I just love how that works. Now I've got this beautiful bright sunshine yellow piece of pattern paper from the same collection, and I just decide that I really want that to frame my page. So I go ahead and I trim down the page that I've been working on so that I can place that page on top of the yellow background paper, and I quite like it at an angle like that, so that's how I end up sticking it down. I do want to add a little bit of shimmer, so I'm coming in with my yellow stickles and just adding a little bit of sparkle to all the yellow butterfly wings, and then I've got the Stardust stickles, which I add to some of the pink parts of each of the butterflies just to give them each a bit of sparkle. I've also got these glittery enamel dots from Doodlebug, and I do add some 3 yellow enamel dots to the top sunshine cluster, and then 3 to each end of the butterflies, and I kind of go back and forth with different colors and fiddle with them for a while. They do eventually come off. I only leave the yellow ones on. The ones on either side of the butterfly cluster I do remove and just stick with some sequins instead. So I've just pulled out my sequins and adding a little bit of shimmer to the end, kind of like tailing those butterflies off, and just kind of moving those about until I'm happy, using a mixture of large, medium and small sequins. I love using a variety of different sizes. I can honestly spend an eternity fiddling with the sequins, just trying to find the right place, but in a moment I swap out those pink sequins from the top for turquoise ones just to kind of tone in with the sky background and I swap the pink enamel dots for turquoise ones, but I'm going to remove those all soon anyway. So I'm just going to go ahead and stick down all of those little sequins because I'm really happy with where those are, and here I am removing all those sequins. So I'm just sticking them back and I will use those again on something else. Now I'm going to come back in just with a few more sequins. I've added a few clear sequins as well, just for a little bit of variety. Once I've added the sequins, I also do add some yellow stitching to the edge of the white cardstock before sticking that decorated page down onto my yellow sunshine background paper. Now you can find all the details for this lovely butterfly challenge over on the Lottie Loves Paper Facebook group. I've linked it all up for you below. So the challenge is to use butterflies in whichever form you would like on a new and original layout for this challenge, and to post it in the correct album on the Lottie Loves Paper Facebook group. So do pop along over to the Facebook group to find out all the details, and you can also have a browse on the Lottie Loves Paper online store for all the lovely scrapbooking supplies. Now I've just added the words you in to make the title You Shine using some Blvd alphas, and that is my layout complete. So you can see all those close-up details, the little vellum wings peeking out, all the sequins and the thread, and I really do love adding all the different colors and texture to a page. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really hope that you've enjoyed coming on this journey with me, and I really hope that something you've seen today inspires a new creative idea for you. I would love to hear from you. Please do drop me a comment in the comments below, and you can also find me on Instagram at Handmade Happy by Monique. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!